with a pretty fun question. Does your cat actually know the dog's name? We're starting here because understanding how your cat learns the names of other household pets completely unlocks the secret to how they view their whole world. If you've ever looked at your cat and wondered, wait, do you actually know who the dog is, or do you know the other cat's name? Well, science now has a definitive answer. But to understand how they learn those names, we first need to look at the pretty remarkable tool they use to pull it off.
Section 1, the owner voice filter. How they hear you.
So, before we can understand how they build up a vocabulary, we have to look at this totally unique neurological filter that activates the second you walk into a room. You see, when you speak, your voice reaches your cat's auditory cortex, and it sparks these very specific reward pathways in their brain. But here's the kicker. If a total stranger says the exact same words in the exact same tone, that pathway, it just doesn't light up. Your cat isn't just passively sitting there hearing you. Their brain is actively suppressing other sounds just to isolate your specific vocal pattern. Scientists actually call this cocktail party processing. Think about it like being in a super crowded, noisy room. Your cat is actively working to find your voice in all that noise. They are hyper-tuned to your unique vocal frequency.
Moving on to Section 2, the Feline Mental Dictionary. Building a vocabulary.
Because the brain is so hyper-tuned to your unique voice and those reward pathways, they actually construct a highly specific internal vocabulary over time. And no, they aren't learning some generic, dog-like obedience vocabulary. They are learning the specific words and phrases that you repeat over and over. These are sounds that carry meaning simply because you gave them meaning. And get this, depending on their age, their environment, and just how chatty you are with them, your cat has encoded anywhere from 20 to over 300 household-specific words into their mental dictionary. That is a staggering number. And this mental dictionary is heavily relationship-based, which happens to be exactly how they start encoding the names of the other pets living under your roof.
Which brings us to Section 3, Mapping the Social World, the multi-cat household discovery.
There was this absolutely groundbreaking discovery out of the University of Tokyo that proves this vocabulary goes way beyond your cat just knowing their own name. Researchers really wanted to nail down what cats were picking up on when their owners spoke, especially in multi-cat households. So they played recordings of words with a similar length and rhythm to the cat's actual name. What happened? Those similar random nouns were ignored completely. Nothing. Now, when the cat's own name was played, they showed this subtle shift in attention, a slight head turn or a little ear flick. But the most mind-blowing finding? When researchers called out a housemate's name, the cats would often physically orient toward that specific animal. This completely proves that in multi-cat households, cats actively track and map the other individuals in their environment. So the crucial takeaway here is that your cat uses your voice as their primary tool to identify other pets and figure out the complex social structure of your home. They aren't just sitting around waiting to hear if it's their feeding time. No, they view the names of other pets as meaningful, vital entries in their mental dictionary. They're basically constantly updating this invisible social map of the house, and your voice is the exact compass they use to do it.
Let's jump into Section 4, the power of questions, why intonation matters. So how exactly do they learn these names? Well, it actually comes down to a really subtle vocal shift that totally spikes their cognitive attention. Think about it. It's dinner time is a declarative statement, but where is the dog is a question. Notice the difference? That natural upward curve of your voice at the end of a question, what scientists call interrogative intonation, is a signal that their brain is specifically wired to register. It immediately moves them from just passive listening into active focus, signaling to them that this is a direct bid for interaction.
When you ask questions, you aren't just talking at them. You're actively teaching them that their response matters. Asking questions triggers increased cognitive attention, and that is precisely what helps them lock those specific housemate names into their memory. If you regularly ask them questions, you're teaching them that your conversation is a back and forth. And over time, cats exposed to this actually develop more varied vocal responses themselves. They show lower baseline stress, and they build much greater confidence in their environment. The act of asking itself is a form of connection they deeply, deeply recognize.
Section 5. Encoding safety and connection, beyond just words. As we zoom out a bit, it's so vital to understand that this mental dictionary isn't just about identifying the dog or figuring out where the food is kept. It is a profound relationship encoded directly into their brain. Your voice carries your emotions like an electrical current. When you're stressed out, those subtle changes in your tone activate your cat's emotional processing center, causing their little bodies to mirror your anxiety. But the reverse is incredibly powerful too. You know that slightly embarrassing, high-pitched voice you use with your cat? Yeah, Researchers call it cat-directed speech. And guess what? When you use it, it's actually highly functional. That specific high-frequency range activates ancient regions of their midbrain, triggering the exact same neurological systems that kittens use to bond with their mothers, which ultimately releases oxytocin. So no, you aren't being ridiculous when you use the baby voice. You're speaking a language their brain was literally built to receive. But remember, this only works when it comes from you. A stranger doing the exact same voice barely even registers to them.
And timing? Timing absolutely matters too. Research shows that after just 4 hours of separation, like, say, an overnight sleep, your cat's auditory processing centers are at their absolute peak sensitivity for your voice. In feline social groups, vocalizing after a reunion confirms safety and reestablishes their connection. So when you speak to your cat first thing in the morning, your voice hits their brain with an intensity that literally no other conversation in your entire day will match. It is absolutely your most powerful opportunity for real connection.
Ultimately, your voice is the absolute safest sound they know. Just 10 minutes of calm conversation produces genuinely therapeutic effects. Because your voice drops their stress hormones, slows their heart rate, and even improves immune function, it serves as the ultimate tool for their emotional regulation. In a world that is loud, unpredictable, and just full of things they can't control, your voice is the one sound that consistently tells them, hey, everything is okay.
I'm going to leave you with this thought to reflect on today. Every single word you say, the tone you use, and the questions you ask are actively shaping the incredible, complex social map inside your cat's mind. They might not speak our language, but they feel every single word. So what is your voice telling them right now? Keep talking to them, guys. Their brain is always listening.